just not fair. Everybody else gets to live their best life. Like, how come I have to do all this work? How come everybody else is just becoming successful? How come everybody's just getting millions of dollars? Why do I don't have the tools? How come nobody wants to support me? How come everyone else is getting likes and shares? How come I gotta put in all this work? Why do I have to do this? This is not fair. This is not fair. Some days I get up and some days I don't want to get up. I be trying to do all this work and yet nothing. The reason why you feel so uncomfortable is because you are not meant to be in this season forever. The reason why you just feel so triggered is because you are supposed to go through this moment so you can overcome it. You are meant to overcome the adversity that you are feeling right now. You are meant to go through the trials and tribulations and come out on the other side. And the longer you sit here and you huff and puff, the longer you don't sit still and overcome it, the longer you're going to be suffering, the harder it is for you to feel like you're going to get anywhere in life. You cannot fight the storm. Trying to fight a storm is delusional, and it's not logically going to make sense. That's like you trying to fight off a hurricane or a tornado, or you deciding to go to the ocean and thinking that you're just going to conquer all the sharks and the octopuses and the whales in the ocean. Stop. Relax. This video is for you. That being said, welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and I get it. I fully and 100% completely understand that you're tired and that you're frustrated, and some days are better than others, and honestly you feel like you want to quit and you want to give up. But speaking from experience, if you stop now, it's only going to get worse. And then it's going to be more challenging for you to get back up and try again. In order for you to be consistent, in order for you to overcome adversity, in order for you to actually make it and experience your breakthrough, you have to be committed. Granted, nobody necessarily asks to experience adversity in life. Nobody necessarily intentionally said when they were little that they wanted to be in poverty, wanted to go through SA, wanted to go through abuse psychologically, emotionally, wanted to be homeless, wanted to lose a job, wanted to lose a loved one, wanted to have just bad things happening to them, right? But because those things have happened to us, the goal is to realize, how are we going to handle these situations, how these situations affect us, letting these situations be what they are, and continuing to live life. Life is about survival. A lot of people talk about survival mode. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or if you're in poverty. Everybody on this earth has to survive. The purpose of life is to evolve and to change and to adapt. Life is constantly going to evolve, change, and adapt. And that's the same thing with you. Granted, because you're learning to overcome adversity, these are things that you need to understand about experiencing this storm in order for you to be consistent. Number one, like I stated a couple of seconds ago, you have to learn to be committed. Things are going to happen to you. Just because something happens to you does not mean that you have to feel stuck or you have to stay stagnant. And the best way for you to be committed in order for you to overcome the adversity is just to accept where you are. The analogy that I gave in the beginning of this video is trying to fight off a hurricane or a tsunami or the ocean. You cannot do that. There are going to be some things in your life where you do not have control. It's bigger than you, it's larger than you, it's greater than you. So if you're going through something and you don't have any other control other than showing up and trying to work with what you have and being where you are, you gotta just go through it. You have to go through it. So if you're in poverty right now and you're trying to establish wealth, if you're homeless and you're trying to find a house, if you're at a job and this is not where you want to be, you have to do with what you have. You have to go through it. So if you're in poverty right now, you have to experience the homelessness. You have to experience being broke. In order for you to become wealthy, if you're not already stable or have the finances, you don't have the tools, the resources, the support, you have to be broke. Just because you're broke right now doesn't mean that you're going to be broke in 5 and 10 years from now. Now, granted, we don't know the future, but you only know what you can do right now. So if you're working at a job, if you work at McDonald's, if you work at Wendy's, and we don't judge anybody because a job is a job at the end of the day. Don't get it twisted. And I've worked at both of those places. If you're working at McDonald's and you don't want to work at McDonald's forever, you got to start saving your money. If you're trying to move into, let's just say, a home, a house, or a condo, and you're not happy with where you are, you got to start packing your stuff. You got to learn that, okay, once my lease is up, I'm going to move. Like, you have to experience the journey. You cannot rush it. You cannot overcome it until it's time for you. So you have to show up, even when you don't feel like it. Now, of course, you don't have to force yourself or rush yourself to experience the journey, but you have to embrace it. You could be angry. You could be mad. You could be sad, but you still got to do what it is that you got to do. So if you're trying to buy a new car and you don't have a car right now, until you get the money to buy that new car, you got to keep going to work. You got to keep walking to work. You got to take an Uber to work. You got to ride a bike to work. You have to do what you have to do in order for you to get to where you need to be. It's very, very simple. The only reason why it's so challenging is because you don't want to do the work. If you knew that me walking to work for 5 months is going to get me that Cadillac, that BMW, that Volvo, that Chevy, that Honda, and not have to worry about walking, what's the issue? What I want to suggest and advise when it comes to being committed is put your head down. Not literally put your head down and not stay focused, but put your head down and do what you need to do. Don't lift your head back up until it's time for you to get to where you need to be. You have to do what you have to do in order for you to overcome it. That's the only way you're going to overcome it. If you do not do what is required of you to get over these obstacles, you're going to feel stuck. That's like jumping over a hurdle. You got to practice. And honestly, that's what it's all about. The reason why you're going through the adversity, the reason why you're so uncomfortable is because what you're asking for is requiring a different version of yourself. It could be mentally, it could be emotionally, it could be spiritually, it could be financially, and most of the time it's all of those things. Like I said, if you're physically trying to move to a new environment, if you're trying to level up in your looks, if you're trying to level up in your finances, you can't think the way that you used to think. You can't talk the way you used to talk. You can't maybe dress the way you used to dress. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable, because you being uncomfortable is the growth that is required of you to get to where you need to be. You are being challenged. You are being triggered. And if you're asking for a lot, in order for you to receive a lot, you have to give a lot. And honestly, even when you get what it is that you want, the goal is longevity. The goal is sustain it. You have to be equipped. It doesn't make sense to put in all this work. For example, it doesn't make sense for you to walk every single day to work just to get a car, and then now you can't afford the car, or now you can't maintain it. You're going to be in survival mode for the rest of your life. And I'll probably make a video about that separately, but you're always going to be in survival mode. You're always going to go through trials and tribulations. You've been surviving since you came out the womb. People think it's about classism and elitism. Once again, wealthy people have to survive because all that money they make, they have to keep growing it. The more money you make, the more money you spend, the more money has to come back to you. And same thing with people in poverty. Everybody's in survival mode. I don't know why people talk about, oh, once you get a survival mode, everybody is surviving. Unless you are so abundantly free, and abundance is different to everyone, don't get that part confused, then you don't have to worry about that. So if you're not on that frequency, which a lot of people may not be, you have to do what you have to do in order for you to get there, because it is possible. You also have to realize that when it comes to you going through adversity, you cannot compare your life to everybody else's, because everyone else around you is not going through what you're going through. So yes, you may see people who have the finances, you may see people who have the support, you may see people who have all the resources and the tools, and you think they're so lucky, they're so fortunate. You worrying about them being so lucky and so fortunate is not changing your situation, especially if they're not contributing to you. So another thing you need to realize is, if people are not going to help you, if people aren't going to invest into you, if people aren't going to inform you and educate you, you got to learn how to cut yourself off and remove yourself from these people. you're going to be alone. You're always alone 99% of the time in your life anyways. The 1% is when you're around other people and you're socializing or in passing or you're just interacting with human beings, but you got to be alone and you have to be okay with being alone. You have to realize that you going through these hard times right now is for you. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do so you can get out of it. You are not meant to be here forever. You're not meant to be stuck and stagnant. If you're coming across this video, you are not meant to be in that situation in that season forever. So I'm going to end off this video. If you guys want more details, stay tuned and comment down below. Welcome or welcome back once again. I'm your favorite mental health specialist. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @time_guidance. And make sure you guys click the link down below. Appointments are going to be taken soon for the month of July. If you guys have any questions or concerns, once again, feel free to engage. But welcome. We have a long way to go. And most importantly, share this video. And if you guys like videos like this, once again, let me know what you think. But this channel is for the people who are doing. If you don't want to do, send it to somebody who wants to do, or maybe you're not prepared, but once you decide to click and join this squad, that's it. And that's the same thing with life. Once you make a decision, you have to stand on it. Okay? Love you. Bye.